Okay, so clauses. They are built up from phrases. They contain one complete idea. They contain at least the subject and the verb. These are the two basic elements. You may have some more depending on verb patterns. And they need one final verb. First clause element has to do with the subject. Typically, we can find examples of subjects being noun phrases, clauses, or pronouns. And we typically put them at the beginning of the sentence, with the exception of some adverbs that are separated by a comma. For questions, we invert. We do not start questions with our subjects, but with auxiliary verbs. They determine the form of the verb in the present. This is referred to as concordance. I'm sure you have worked with that before. Here are some examples. The house will be ready for sale in a few weeks. The woman in the corner seems to be lost. My mother and her friends are going to a concert. In this case, we have examples of subjects being noun phrases. One should study a lot to pass exams, generally speaking. This is my favorite time of the year. Not a true sentence for me, to be honest. Somebody should do something about pollution. In these three examples, the subject is a pronoun. And then we have, the idea you gave me was excellent. What I enjoy the most is going to concerts. True for me. And what happened last night was really special. In these last three examples, our subject is a clause. So if you analyze it internally, you will see that within the subject, we can find another subject and a verb, and sometimes an object or an object complement. So what do we know about verbs? They are a central element, and this is because they decide what's coming next in the clause. In words of Alexander, a verb is a word or phrase which expresses the existence of a state or the doing of an action. The presence of certain types of verbs is likely to influence the existence of other elements in the clause. So concerning time, we can express time through the use of tense in verbs. So the students start classes at 6:30 every day means that we have a verb in the simple present, and so we are talking about present time. The place started punctually at 10. Then we have a verb marked by the simple past tense, so we are referring to past time. Hurry up, the show is starting, so a present continuous tense here indicates the existence of an action at the moment of speaking. Intransitive verbs. Intransitive verbs have to do with an action that only involves a person performing the action and the action itself. A work and something unexpected happened. In these two examples, only the person doing the action, I, or something unexpected, and the action, which is happened or work, are the only ones involved. However, there are some times where we can add some more information using adverbs. So, I worked for 3 years. Then we have an adverb phrase of time. Or something unexpected happened in the city last night. So, in this last example, we have added in the city of place and last night of time. A transitive verb. So in this case, there is another entity which is involved. Okay, we have the person performing the action, or somebody performing the action, and we have the action itself, and we have a third element. The students saw me at the club. This is referred to as a direct object. Some transitive verbs can take more than one object, and these are called detransitive. Please give me This would be the indirect. My book. This would be the direct object. Linking verbs. Sometimes we refer to linking verbs as copular verbs. If you want to describe someone or something, for example, to say who or what they are or what qualities they have, you use one of a special set of verbs, and these are called linking verbs. Reading the news in English is a great way to improve your English. In this case, is acts like an equal sign, okay? Because reading the news is the same as a great way to improve your English. Or the students seemed pretty lost with the topic, okay? Just an example, don't take it personal. The teacher looked ridiculous at the party, so in this case, the teacher and ridiculous are the same. And so the presence of a copular verb or a linking verb will determine the presence of a predicative or a complement. There are two types of predicative: subject predicative or subject complement and object complement. And these two are examples of a very close relationship between the subject and the complement, or between the object and the complement. Amy Winehouse was a great songwriter. So in this case, there is a really close relationship with Amy Winehouse and a great songwriter. We can say that they refer to the same entity. However, she always seemed unhappy. In this case, our predicative is an adjective. Amy Winehouse became what she had never wanted, a magnet for controversy. And in this case, the highlighted part of the clause is the predicative, and that is the clause itself. And then we have the object complement. To give someone a job, Argentina elected Macri its president in 2015. So here the relationship is between Macri and its president. To express an opinion, for example, consider, think, judge. I consider her a horrible person. I'm not going to give names, but anyways. Causing something to happen, and you can use verbs such as strive, make, or render. So I remember this quote from the Big Bang Theory. So you're afraid of insects and women. Ladybugs must render you catatonic. Have you ever seen this show? Well, hopefully you have, otherwise this will not be funny for you at all. Objects. They're usually referred to as the entities that are affected or benefited by the action, and they immediately follow the verb, okay? They can be realized by noun phrases, pronouns, and in this case they must be in the objective case or even other clauses. I watched that movie twice. That's a noun phrase. I think you should definitely call him. That's a pronoun. And she explained that I was wrong and that I needed to apologize. So that whole highlighted part of the sentence is the subject realized by a clause. There are two she's in the example. Please ignore that. The direct object is typically referred to as the entity that is affected by the action. Okay? I just knew I had to make a decision. We were so hungry, we ate an entire chicken. So we can see the object here as being affected, as being a victim. Okay? This chicken was eaten by us. Okay? That is a true sentence, by the way. She got mad and started hitting me. So in this case, me or I am the one affected by the action of hitting, okay? I really believed what she told me. This is an example of clause. Indirect object. This is the one that's typically referred to as benefited by the action, okay? The students made me lots of questions, so I was the one that got benefited by the questions. I knew she'd have to tell him the truth eventually. My mother-in-law painted us a picture of Jesus. So, in prepositional objects, prepositions are directing the action of the verb, and they tell us how the verb was performed, and the object comes immediately after the preposition. So, in this example, Homer pushed the cat down the stairs. In this sentence, the stairs is the object of the preposition down, and it tells us how the pushing happened. So, it's not actually true, Homer didn't push the cat, but just thought the image was fun. So, adverbials. The main role of adverbials is connected to providing more information on the circumstances surrounding the clause. Therefore, most of the time they are optional with a few exceptions. They can be realized by a number of structures, such as an adverb phrase. Students learn the topic quite easily. A prepositional phrase. Many students understood clauses in the end. A clause. They didn't pass because they hadn't studied enough. A noun phrase. There will be a new evaluation this week. A non-finite clause. Struggling to get most of the topic. The students weren't happy with the subject. I don't know how I could imagine all of these examples. I suppose I was inspired.